You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Cryptographic attack indicators are the observable signs that encryption mechanisms, digital certificates, or key management processes are being targeted or are beginning to fail. Unlike general malware or network anomalies, these indicators directly relate to the systems we rely on for confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. When attackers exploit weaknesses in algorithms, misconfigurations, or certificate management, they leave traces: unusual errors, downgraded connections, or unexpected key usage. Detecting these signals is critical, as cryptographic failures undermine trust across entire infrastructures. If encryption is compromised, even robust firewalls and access controls lose effectiveness, since attackers may intercept or manipulate sensitive information without immediate visibility to defenders. Monitoring cryptographic usage is vital, because misuse often precedes catastrophic breaches. By keeping track of which protocols, cipher suites, and certificates are in play, organizations can identify when attackers force insecure settings or exploit weak defaults. For example, a sudden rise in failed TLS negotiations may signal attempts to bypass secure versions. Observing how cryptography is applied also reveals whether proper controls, like certificate validation, are consistently enforced. Without monitoring, cryptographic anomalies can blend into background noise, leaving exploitation unnoticed. Treating cryptographic usage as a monitored resource ensures defenders detect misuse before it escalates into data theft or system compromise. Indicators of weak or deprecated cipher usage are among the most telling. If negotiated connections regularly fall back to outdated algorithms like RC4, DES, or SSLv3, this suggests attackers may be forcing downgrades, or systems are still permitting unsafe configurations. Security standards evolve to deprecate algorithms proven weak. Seeing them in production traffic is a red flag. Even if attackers are not directly involved, the presence of deprecated ciphers signals vulnerability waiting to be exploited. By flagging these indicators, defenders can take corrective steps, such as disabling unsafe algorithms or tightening negotiation policies, before adversaries exploit those cryptographic weaknesses. Certificate-based attacks also produce clear indicators. Unexpected certificate changes, such as a server presenting a new, unapproved certificate, raise suspicion of man-in-the-middle attempts. Mismatched chains, where certificates do not align with trusted authorities, can signal tampering or misissuance. Expired certificates being used in active connections are another red flag, either from negligence or deliberate abuse. Monitoring certificate life cycles and validating chains against trusted routes provides a way to surface these anomalies quickly. Since certificates are central to trust on the Internet, anomalies in their use or issuance must always be investigated. Attackers often exploit lax certificate oversight to infiltrate secure channels. Indicators of key compromise revolve around unusual key usage patterns. Examples include keys being used outside expected schedules, unexpected key exports, or unauthorized requests for private keys. If logs show the same cryptographic keys suddenly in use across multiple systems or geographic regions, it suggests theft. Likewise, anomalies in access to hardware security modules, HSMs, or key vaults indicate compromise attempts. Keys are the foundation of trust, and when their usage diverges from established baselines, defenders must assume compromise until proven otherwise. Monitoring these indicators provides organizations with early warnings that attackers may be operating with stolen or abused cryptographic material. Downgrade attacks attempt to force systems into using weaker protocols, versions, or algorithms. Indicators include connections that repeatedly negotiate weaker than expected cryptography, despite stronger options being available. For example, clients capable of TLS 1.3 suddenly falling back to TLS 1.0 is highly suspicious. Similarly, algorithms known to be secure may be bypassed for weaker substitutes due to attacker interference. Logs showing frequent fallback behavior, especially during high-value transactions, reveal downgrade attempts. By flagging these anomalies, defenders can distinguish between accidental misconfiguration and active manipulation. Downgrade indicators remind organizations that attackers often aim not to break strong crypto, but to coerce weaker use. Entropy issues represent another subtle but important indicator. Cryptographic systems rely on strong randomness for generating keys, nonces, and initialization vectors, IVs. If logs or telemetry reveal repeated nonces, predictable IVs, or low variability in random values, it suggests weak entropy sources. Attackers exploit these weaknesses by predicting keys or replaying cryptographic messages. Entropy failures often stem from hardware misconfigurations, rushed system startups, or embedded devices with insufficient randomness. Recognizing repeated or predictable values in cryptographic operations alerts defenders to underlying flaws. Entropy indicators show that even small cracks in randomness can erode the strength of otherwise robust algorithms. Signs of man-in-the-middle (MITM) activity can also emerge through TLS fingerprinting changes. Each TLS handshake produces a unique fingerprint based on cipher order, extensions, and options. If traffic suddenly presents fingerprints inconsistent with known client profiles, it may suggest interception or manipulation. Similarly, mismatches in expected certificate chains during TLS negotiations can reveal MITM attempts. These indicators require defenders to baseline normal TLS behavior and detect deviations. While MITM attacks attempt to remain invisible, they leave subtle but observable patterns in how encryption is negotiated. TLS fingerprinting anomalies serve as high-value detection sources in defending encrypted communications. Logging cryptographic exceptions and handshake failures is another important practice. Frequent handshake errors may indicate attackers probing different protocol versions, attempting downgrades, or injecting malformed inputs. Exceptions, especially those tied to validation or trust chain verification, highlight where exploitation attempts may be occurring. By collecting and analyzing these logs, defenders gain early visibility into adversarial activity that might otherwise be overlooked as quote. Rather than dismissing these events, organizations should treat them as meaningful signals. Exceptions and failures, while sometimes caused by misconfigurations, often mark the first stage of cryptographic exploitation. Treating them as indicators strengthens early detection. Certificate transparency and monitoring provide defenders with the ability to detect unexpected issuances. Public Certificate Transparency (CT) logs track when new certificates are issued for domains. By monitoring these logs, organizations can spot when unauthorized or fraudulent certificates appear, often signaling compromise at the certificate authority level. Indicators from CT monitoring highlight when attackers attempt to impersonate legitimate services using valid-looking but unauthorized certificates. These attacks erode trust because they bypass traditional validation. Certificate transparency ensures defenders retain visibility, surfacing indicators of misissuance that might otherwise allow attackers to operate unnoticed in encrypted channels. Misconfiguration indicators play a preventative role in cryptographic defense. Systems with weak ciphers enabled, expired certificates still trusted, or outdated protocols active provide attackers with potential entry points. While these are not evidence of active attack, they serve as forward-looking indicators of vulnerability. Identifying and remediating them reduces the likelihood that attackers will succeed. Treating misconfiguration as an indicator shifts the mindset from purely reactive defense to proactive hardening. By spotting weaknesses early, defenders shrink the attack surface attackers can exploit, making cryptographic environments more resilient before adversaries strike. Ultimately, cryptographic indicators require both telemetry and configuration management to surface effectively. Telemetry provides insight into live traffic, revealing anomalies like downgrade attempts, MITM patterns, or handshake failures. Configuration management ensures systems are deployed with secure settings and deviations are caught quickly. Together, they form a feedback loop. Telemetry detects suspicious activity, while configuration oversight prevents known weaknesses. Cryptographic attacks are subtle and often leave only faint traces. By combining these two sources, defenders ensure no signal is overlooked. Cryptographic indicators serve as early warnings, protecting trust, confidentiality, and the very foundation of secure communication. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Active monitoring of cipher suites and protocol versions establishes a baseline for normal cryptographic usage across services. By recording which algorithms are negotiated in daily operations, defenders can detect anomalies like sudden fallback to weaker ciphers or unexpected use of deprecated protocols. These deviations often signal downgrade attempts or misconfigurations attackers exploit. Baseline monitoring also ensures that compliance with organizational cryptographic policy is enforced consistently across environments. Without this visibility, insecure algorithms may linger unnoticed. By making cipher suite monitoring routine, organizations transform abstract policy into measurable practice, catching both accidental and malicious deviations before they undermine system trust. Automated certificate inventory and expiry monitoring help prevent both disruptions and attacks. Certificates that expire unnoticed can break secure communications, while expired certificates left in use may allow attackers to impersonate services. Automated tools track all certificates across fleets, flagging those approaching expiration or appearing unexpectedly. Inventory also helps defenders spot unauthorized certificates that may signal man-in-the-middle or supply chain tampering. Certificates are foundational to trust, but managing them manually often leads to oversights. Automation ensures consistent oversight, providing defenders with timely alerts. This approach treats certificate hygiene not as an administrative detail, but as an integral defense against cryptographic exploitation. Alerting on anomalous key usage patterns provides defenders with visibility into possible key compromise. Keys should only be used in defined contexts, such as signing transactions or encrypting specific data streams. If the same key suddenly appears in use across different services, geographic regions, or at unusual times, compromise should be suspected. Alerting mechanisms built into key management systems track usage and flag deviations from established baselines. These indicators highlight when attackers have stolen or misused cryptographic keys, even before broader compromise is detected. Monitoring key usage ensures defenders do not rely solely on perimeter controls but guard the very foundation of digital trust. Integrating hardware security module (HSM) and key management logs into central telemetry enhances visibility. HSMs and key vaults track operations like key creation, export attempts, or signing actions. Feeding these logs into SigneM or security analytics platforms enables defenders to correlate anomalies with other indicators, such as suspicious network traffic or failed authentication attempts. For example, repeated failed export requests may signal an attacker probing for access. Without integration, these signals remain isolated, limiting their usefulness. Centralizing key management logs ensures that cryptographic indicators become part of the broader detection ecosystem, strengthening defense against sophisticated compromise attempts. Replay attacks and nonce reuse produce specific anomalies in transaction or message sequencing. In secure protocols, nonces, numbers used once, and initialization vectors must be unique. If systems log repeated values, attackers may be replaying old messages or exploiting weak randomness. Indicators include duplicate transaction identifiers, failed validation checks, or suspiciously predictable message structures. These anomalies can reveal attempts to trick systems into accepting old data as valid or undermining session confidentiality. Detecting replay or nonce reuse requires vigilant monitoring of cryptographic operations and validation mechanisms. While subtle, these signals highlight when the mathematical underpinnings of security are being exploited. Validation of certificate chains and online certificate status protocol (OCSP) or certificate revocation list (CRL) checks provide runtime assurance. Indicators emerge when certificates fail validation, chains are incomplete, or revocation checks reveal compromised keys. Attackers sometimes attempt to insert fraudulent or revoked certificates to impersonate trusted services. Logs showing repeated failures in chain validation or bypassed revocation checks serve as strong warnings of attempted exploitation. By ensuring runtime validation is active and anomalies are logged, organizations strengthen their ability to detect compromised trust relationships. These validation checks transform passive trust assumptions into active, observable indicators of cryptographic health. Correlating handshake anomalies with endpoint and network telemetry validates suspicions of cryptographic exploitation. For example, repeated TLS handshake failures from a particular client may align with endpoint logs showing unusual processes, suggesting active probing or manipulation. Similarly, handshake downgrades correlated with DNS anomalies pointing to suspicious domains strengthen the case for a man-in-the-middle attempt. Correlation prevents defenders from treating anomalies in isolation and provides confidence in determining whether they represent attack activity or benign misconfigurations. By weaving cryptographic indicators into the broader tapestry of host and network evidence, defenders gain a holistic view of exploitation attempts. Emergency key revocation and rotation procedures are critical when compromise indicators surface. Once anomalous usage or suspected theft is detected, defenders must be prepared to revoke affected keys, issue replacements, and re-establish trust chains quickly. Delay in revocation prolongs exposure, allowing attackers to continue using stolen credentials. Automated processes and predefined playbooks ensure these actions occur without hesitation, even under pressure. Revocation is not only a defensive step but also a signal to dependent systems to distrust compromised material. Rapid key lifecycle actions limit damage and demonstrate why preparation is essential in handling cryptographic attack indicators effectively. Periodic scanning for deprecated cryptography ensures organizations remain ahead of attackers who exploit weak algorithms. Automated scans of systems, services, and applications can detect insecure cipher suites, outdated libraries, or vulnerable configurations. These scans act as proactive indicators, surfacing weaknesses before they are exploited. By planning automated remediation, such as disabling unsafe algorithms or replacing outdated libraries, defenders reduce reliance on detection alone. Scanning also supports compliance, proving that cryptographic policy is enforced consistently. Treating deprecated cryptography as a recurring risk ensures that defenders adapt to evolving standards, preventing attackers from exploiting the lingering presence of obsolete protections. Logging cryptographic policy violations and configuration drift provides defenders with long-term visibility into systemic weaknesses. Violations, such as the reappearance of insecure cipher suites or unauthorized certificate installations, serve as early indicators of mismanagement or exploitation attempts. Drift occurs when systems deviate from hardened baselines over time, often due to ad hoc changes or updates. By logging these changes and treating them as actionable indicators, organizations maintain discipline in their cryptographic environments. These logs also provide valuable forensic evidence if compromises occur, showing when and how protections weakened. Policy violation logging ensures security does not erode silently beneath operational pressures. In summary, cryptographic indicators are specialized but high-value signals that protect the foundations of trust and confidentiality. Active monitoring of cipher suites, certificate inventories, and key usage reveals when systems are targeted or weakened. Logs from HSMs, validation checks, and replay detection provide additional visibility into subtle exploitation attempts. Emergency revocation, remediation of deprecated cryptography, and policy violation tracking transform indicators into operational defenses. While cryptographic attacks are often subtle, their consequences are severe. Organizations that monitor, correlate, and act on cryptographic indicators preserve the trustworthiness of their systems, ensuring secure communication and resilient defenses in the face of adversarial pressure. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.